What's up, guys? Austin Jones here. Another Grand Prix in the books. Brazil, phenomenal. I think it was one of the best ones yet this season, and we'll get into that in a sec. If you've watched any of the other videos, we'll be hitting a handy dandy slide presentation in a sec. But, if you have been kind of watching them every week, I really appreciate it. If you would hit that subscribe button, it would help me out a lot and let me know I'm on the right track. As always, comment thoughts on the race and what you want to see in the future, and let's get right to it. All right. 2021 Brazil Grand Prix, phenomenal. Man, that was one of the most fun I've had watching a Grand Prix from the beginning, like right off here, just two pictures right off the bat. The podium, Hamilton's never looked happier, and then Toto's picture, just that's perfect. And it was so funny when the camera panned over to him and he was doing that, and then as soon as he saw that the camera was on him, he just turned back to his normal Toto pose. So good, such an exciting race, even from the beginning. A sprint weekend, which is huge. I really hope that they widely adopt that next season. I mean, who doesn't want more F1 racing? Who doesn't want that? So, shout out to them. All right, let's get right into it. Take a look. One of the reasons why I think that this is so exciting is because of the track. Yes, this is in, I believe, Spanish. I'm sorry, I couldn't find a good graphic of it in English. But, what am I trying to say? Yeah, phenomenal. The track has so many curves, the perfect mix of turns and straightaways, where, you had Verstappen and Hamilton being able to stay close to each other throughout the whole race. Usually, they just put on these huge gaps throughout the race, but, I mean, during this, it was just the perfect balance of the entire race. You thought, is he going to get him this lap? Is Hamilton going to give Verstappen this lap? Is it going to be this lap the next one? And so on and so forth. And there was overtaking in the whole field throughout the entire race, which usually you don't see. Usually halfway through you can say, okay, whatever, besides the front guys, whatever position they're in. But here you saw overtaking just non-stop. The two DRS zones, back to back, going on the back straight. I don't know, where's my cursor? Going along the back straight, and then you have the turn, and then the other DRS zone right here was just perfect, which is eventually how Hamilton was able to, get past Verstappen. And even before he got past for the final time, he was able to, Hamilton got past Verstappen on this straight, and then the turns going in, Verstappen got a better turn exit, and then was able to repass Hamilton before, in a few laps, Hamilton got around him for good. But just, yeah, so exciting. This track, phenomenal. This is my first time watching one of the Brazil Grand Prix, live, and man, I loved it. Oh, it's so exciting. Okay, so here was the top 10, and okay, first off, let's talk about the sprint though, because, I mean, with all the drama, you could say, of Hamilton's rear wing, right, being a few centimeters off, so when it opened for DRS, he just got more speed, which really helped him in qualifying. Plus, he took the engine penalty, so he started the sprint in 20th, and he made up 15 places, right, because he finished 5th, I believe, which is just unreal, and able to do that in 24 laps. Lando Norris had a really awesome quote about it. He said that Hamilton should be driving with 3 wheels, if he was able to make up 15 places in 24 laps. So good for him for doing that. And then, then he got the 5-second grid penalty for the engine, so he started the race 10th, finished 1st. I mean, incredible. Bottas started 1st. Verstappen got around him on the very first turn, or first few turns. So that didn't take long at all. And then, yeah, it was great. Perez had a good he had a good race, but just Mercedes, their strategy was better with the tires, and you know, it was pretty clear Verstappen was going to stay ahead of Valtteri, but good for, good driving on Valtteri for being able to work around Perez, to be on podium. Huge for Mercedes, seriously. Great, what's it called? Ferrari, I'm telling you, they are pulling away. Ferrari 5th, 6th, and only one McLaren in the top 10. So, dude, take that, because Ferrari is really pulling away from McLaren. They're really starting to solidify, what's it called, like, that they're third best. They're the third best constructor. Gasly, another solid performance. I mean, he's, he won't quit in that AlphaTauri. He really has been killing it. He qualified, and then did the sprint really well. Fell back a few places during the race, but I guess the Ferrari is probably a better car than the AlphaTauri. A strong showing for Alpine. Good for Ocon and Alonso. 8th and 9th, and then Norris. Tire blew out in the first, straightaway going into the first turn, like right here. Had a little run in. I forget who it was with, but tire blew out. Nuts. Yeah, so that was fun. And then, but he was able to make up some really good places. They went in, immediately pitted, and then the strategy was good, and he was able to finish top 10 and get some points for himself, and for the team. So really, yeah, exciting race. Hamilton, just, that's why he's the best. I would love to have seen like Verstappen in that situation and see what he could do, or really any other driver. But there was also another quote, I forget who it was by, but it said, it's possible for Hamilton to be, a phenomenal driver and also have a fast car. You could have the fastest car, but unless you're equally as good of a driver, as your car is fast, you're not going to be able to make those moves like he did. I mean, if you haven't seen it, then you can go back and watch it. I mean, really, it's just through the entire race, you're locked in on this Hamilton Verstappen battle. Especially this late in the season, man, every move is so crucial. Really just exciting to watch. Yeah, absolutely. And so, after the Brazilian Grand Prix, here are the driver standings. No real change, except that Leclerc pulled a little bit away from Sainz. Gasly's working his way up. I can see him passing Ricciardo by the end of the season. And then, Perez a little bit extended the gap a little bit or got farther away, I should say, from Valtteri. Leclerc's creeping up on Norris, I will say. Only those 3 points apart. If the current trajectory, although Lando just turned 22, which is kind of insane, but the current trajectory, Leclerc's looking to pass Norris and Sainz even in the last few races. Sainz has been really finding his groove as well, so we could see that maybe. But talk about what everyone's talking about, top two, Verstappen, Hamilton. Like, Hamilton's just closing the gap, and I don't know if this is true, I didn't necessarily fact check it, but they were saying if Hamilton wins the next 2 races and Verstappen comes in second, they'll be going into the last race where it's just whoever's game, whoever's race. It might have said even that they'd be tied, which is just unreal that this is happening. I want it to be as close as possible, so I do hope that Hamilton and Verstappen can go 1-2 and it comes down to the last race. That would just make so perfect, and damn, it would make for a good Drive to Survive season too. I'll tell you that much. Although Verstappen's not participating in it, which is a shame, but it would still be great just to see that going on. Yeah. And that's kind of the recap, honestly. Just such an exciting race. All throughout the race there was just moving around, and no one was ever safe in their position, which is what you want, which is so exciting. A lot of wing damage, actually. Sonoda, and then was it Schumacher or Mazepin? I don't know, one of the Haas Haas drivers. They, had to go in and change some wings. Oh, Daniel Ricciardo, his car was retired. And I think so was Tsunoda's. No, not Tsunoda's, sorry. One of the Haas, maybe. I don't know. 2 cars were retired. Daniel Ricciardo's was, which is a real shame. But phenomenal race. Look, Max and Red Bull have definitely been driving stronger this season, but I do think, Mercedes on the straightaways were just so fast. They couldn't necessarily, that middle sector was a little more full of turns, right? It's right here in the red. But that yellow and green was all Mercedes just catching up, and then they'd fall back a little bit, catch up more, fall back a little, 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of thing. So great for, Mercedes is still in it. That's what I'm trying to say. And this Brazilian Grand Prix just showed it. There's no changes in the Constructors' Championship. Ferrari is ahead of McLaren handsomely, and Mercedes pulled away a little bit because first and third compared to second and fourth. So Mercedes, but the gap is still so close. All it takes is one phenomenal race from one team and one not so hot race from the other, and that it can shift. So phenomenal Grand Prix. Brazil did not disappoint. We have another race, Qatar, coming up this weekend, which is huge. So hit the subscribe button. Stay tuned for that. I'll be doing little recaps of the practice sessions and qualifying, and then the race, of course. So see you all soon. Appreciate you watching. Catch you next time.